Good evening, and welcome to Restoring Health Holistically. This evening's show is about healing with sound, color, and vibration. When I decided to try to end my bipolar mood swings holistically in 1999, I was open to any treatment that seemed promising, that made scientific sense, and that would not damage my health. In this series, I've included 2 shows to help open this option to you. The first was on December 3 with Ellie Brown, an introduction to Hands of Light energy healing. The second is tonight's show with Colleen Clabby, a specialist in using color, sound, and vibration to heal both physical and spiritual challenges. Welcome, Colleen.
Thank you.
Nice to have you here.
Nice to be here.
Colleen was born in Norwich and grew up in Mystic. After high school, she attended radio, TV, and theater school in Brookline, Massachusetts, and became licensed. She loved radio work and interviewing people. Years later, she hosted a radio show in Las Vegas called the Angelic Channel. She went to Empire State College, majoring in liberal arts and communication, and attended the Academy for Dramatic Arts in New York City for a year. At that time, Colleen worked at the famous Russian Tea Room, and there she fell in love with a man that she stayed with for the next 20 years, living in New York City, Miami, Las Vegas, and Beverly Hills. When the 20-year relationship ended, Colleen went to seminary school and became an all-faith minister. She returned to Mystic in 2007 and built the Mystic Gathering Center, a spiritual health care and retreat at 244 Colonel Ledyard Highway off of Route 184. Please begin telling us your story by describing the gift that you received in the early 1980s while living in the desert in Nevada.
The gift of hearing, or the gift of wanting to follow my desire to be a sound healer began in 1987 with a very strong answer to a prayer while I was calling upon the higher power, God, for healing for my mother from cancer. And so I had gotten this tremendous thought, inspiration that, and a voice from beyond actually, that told me that we could heal ourselves with color, sound, and vibration. I was living in the desert in Nevada for 20 years with this man, and I began to hear higher frequencies, and I thought that it was tinnitus, which is very common in a lot of human beings, and I thought that there was something wrong, with my hearing and ringing in my ears. But I began to work from the inside out, because I was very unhappy in my relationship, and I wanted to find another way how to get out of it, how to heal, how to help my mother with her cancer, how to follow that very strong command that I had received in 1987 about that we could heal ourselves with color, sound, and vibration. And so I began to go to different places for hands-on healing, different groups that were meditating and praying. And I thought of my ringing in the ears as something beneficial instead of thinking of it as a disease.
Right.
And so I started to listen more intently and meditate and think of those sounds as something from beyond this earth plane.
So you tuned into the higher frequencies, and you noticed that there was a difference, or intuitively you interpreted it a different way?
Well, because I felt that, I even went to the piano and I said, what note is that? It was like very high pitched, and it was like a high C. And I thought, well, we're made of sound. We are musical beings. And so I wanted to incorporate that into my living experience. And so also working with other people, people that so-called channel and psychics or whatever, thinking nothing of these higher frequencies or energies as being abnormal. When I began to tune in and to listen to the frequencies and pray and figure out, where my next move was, I began to hear guided inspiration or answers from that.
So you began to hear someone speaking to you and giving you help in an audible way in your head?
Yes, I would say that that's pretty close.
Okay.
Yes, and not just one booming male voice or feminine voice or someone that's speaking in different languages. It's really my higher voice that I tuned into.
So you are saying, and you believe, that all of us have a higher consciousness within us that gives us this direction or help when we need it? Because lots of times when we're guided by tragedy and challenge in our life to go in new directions that we wouldn't have consciously chosen. So this sounds like one of those instances.
It really is. Plus, living out in the desert in Nevada in the 80s was pretty exciting because we had, the ET highway. We had, Area 51, which they call Dreamland. It was very exciting. There was all kinds of things in the sky, and people were just kind of waking up and, I think, and finding their way outside of the box.
Of the conventions,
Yes.
and conventional thought.
Yes.
And conventional being.
Yes.
Okay.
And I didn't want to become ill myself before I could really discover what I was doing here, or the reason for my being, mostly for my own healing and to be able to heal.
So in order to heal, we have to heal ourselves first.
Absolutely.
And then perhaps, if we want and seek it, we will be able to achieve, take on some of the gifts that you've experienced and become a gifted healer.
We are all gifted healers, and we are all so-called channelers. This word is
Well, it's a quick way of describing something.
It is.
Yeah.
It is.
But how do you view it?
Streams of consciousness, streams of inspiration, higher intuition, tuning in.
Okay.
I mean, we make decisions every single moment in our daily lives. My thing was to work it backwards, to be in co-creation with my higher self, to work the program here, because the relationship was so terrible and suffering.
Was
and
difficult. Yes,
very difficult.
Yes.
And my mother was now diagnosed with stage 4 cancer, non-Hodgkin's lymphoma, and in the act of prayer, I had heard this voice say, "You can heal yourself." And I am like stunned, and I'm shocked, and I'm thinking, oh my God, did I just hear from God? He just gave me this answer. And I'm standing by myself, and I say, did I just hear someone answer like my prayer? And it was, yes, you humans can heal yourselves with color, sound, and vibration. And then I said, well, you've got my attention now. How? And there was silence.
The how is for you to figure
Right.
out. That's part of your
Right.
challenge here.
And so the silence that's one of the greatest messages that Yeshua had for us is, be still and know that I am. So be still and know who you are. Be still and know,
And tune in.
Yes. And so we get a lot of help from our fellow human beings and all that, but we don't really believe until we ourselves, are in connection to that higher power, and that because it comes from us.
Comes through us and from within.
Yes.
Yes, and so you have to be quiet and not too busy sometimes, and being in the desert helps.
It certainly did in the 1980s,
Well, I would like to explain, we're going to do a short demonstration of healing towards the end of the show, but first I'd like to explain to you a little bit about how this works. And so I'm not the expert here. Colleen is answered a lot of my questions so that I can get us through the show, but she's got to do the explaining. So what is color used in healing? What is its function, or how does it work?
Well, you have on this gorgeous plum, beautiful purple color.
Mm-hmm.
I have different colors on as well because today I felt that I should wear perhaps the colors. It's part of our, earthy, yes. It's part of our hue, H-U-E, men makeup.
Okay.
And because also we are surrounded by color. And I also know from people who have had near-death experiences that when they go over, let's say, or reach another state of consciousness, they see all of these colors
Vibrant.
that we don't have on this earth plane.
Yes, yes.
And so I'm working more with that and bringing in more lighting systems to work with that. I have some little lights that are red blinking, or each color does certain
Crystals?
things. Yeah, I have crystals that are colors. I've got every colored crystal I think there is on this earth plane. Maybe not all of them, but
Right.
I have crystal lighting everywhere in my center. And we love color. We human beings love color.
I don't.
You know, when you go to choose a car,
Right.
okay, if it's not the right color, forget about what the mechanics are of it, right? So
Right,
it's like
right.
color is extremely important. It defines really who we are as well.
And so, so you're first you start with choosing the colors that intuitively you feel that the person who has come to you for healing needs. Is that part of it, or?
The color is already actually stationary. It's already there. I've taken the major chakra colors, or the colors of the rainbow, the red right through the violet, and put them in the healing room. So you will see the eye falls on these different colors. Blue lights over the healing table, specifically for mental, and the green lights over the tuning forks, or the tools for green for healing.
Okay.
Basically, most human beings connect green with healing and the earth, red with root and grounding, you know, violet with chakra, you know, higher. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
So.
And so then the light is there in the healing space that you've created for your work.
Yes.
Let's talk about sound next. How does sound impact our health? I mean, we're surrounded by sounds all the time, but these aren't necessarily beneficial. So what do you do?
Yes, getting more so, more bombardment from computer systems and, you know, cell phone towers and frequencies that are harmful, especially off of the television, and especially what's coming off of that television, which is why I don't have television.
Right.
All right, so sound,
they impact
cellular memory. Yes, cellular memory. So this is an ancient healing modality, sound healing. We love the sound of our own voice, you know, as well. We have our own frequency. We are made up of many different frequencies, and our cellular molecular structure holds frequency in them. And so with the tuning forks, each tuning fork has a different vibration sound. I go by the colors of the tuning forks, or basically more so by the intuitive guidance giving me about which tuning forks to pick up to combine different frequencies.
Okay. And our bodies are 75% water, so this particularly sound, is it like dolphins in the ocean, that they can communicate at great distances from each other because the water is the carrier of this sound, or it impacts our cells?
Yes, well, the water, we're all automatically ready for sound, because sound travels and carries, And yes, we use dolphin frequencies. We use many different frequencies from the creatures of the sea or the air, birds, but we're already made of water. So therefore, if we put a tuning fork or a sound or a song, we're already resonating to that. I mean, singing in the shower, singing in the car, our whole being resonates to songs and singing.
Music within us.
Yes.
And you'd mentioned that this impacts cellular memory in some way. Talk about that.
Well, our cells store memory, and so everything that we've ever seen or touched or been hurt by or joy, any of that, it's stored. Even though we might have forgotten, lots and bits and pieces of our, of our life, it is still stored in what we call Akashic records, and also stored in our cellular memory. Now, the best way I can describe the truth of that is that when I've had people on the table, I'm given certain tuning forks to pick up, and I have quite a lot of them, to combine them together over a particular area of the person's auric field, or sometimes
body.
even right on top of them, to heal a particular memory in that spot.
Okay. So this is one of the methods that is used for spiritual healing, is to get rid of memories that are negative or hurtful or causing disruption in the person.
Yes.
Or holding them back in some way?
Yes.
Okay.
And what's so exciting about sound healing is that it's so immediate. We can be in therapy for 20 years, and
Talk
we're
therapy.
still and we're still chewing on it,
Right.
and dragging it around and around and around. But sound can transcend us in 1 second, and it really can. And it makes us. It just kind of gets us back into balance, and we remember that we really are made of sound, color, and vibration, and that we are not made of sorrow, of negative thoughts, of negative energy, and that we can heal this.
We can get rid of those through healing.
We can heal them. Yes, a lot of the work is done through talking and psychology, and some medications that are very helpful, and all of that. But the sound and the color and the vibration, it really augments the being back into wholeness.
Yes, it's what you do is considered an energy medicine, because it's not from the rational mind. It comes through our physical makeup, and so it happens whether we're thinking about it or not. It can occur, and a major shift can happen. You had said that this sound healing was first used by the Aboriginal people in Australia 40,000 years ago.
Yes,
That's
yes.
amazing.
Yes, the didgeridoo. And I have actually a couple of friends that play that, and no matter how many times they play it, it's just fantastic. I mean,
It's a very strange, haunting sound.
you think so?
I love it, but I mean, I find it very, it gets my attention, and it seems to get into your fiber,
It does.
because it's not what you're accustomed to partially, but also something about the vibration of it is unique.
Very deep, and it's it comes from the earth. It's a hollowed out, log, so it does come from the earth.
So, how do people open up to be using their higher power, or being aware, tuning in to their own spirituality and their own intuition? What do you recommend?
Many people have different ways of opening up to what they would like to learn or know more about their higher self and their higher power. Mostly it is about being still, or just stopping that train of thought, that busyness in our mind that keeps us so very busy.
I call it monkey mind. Just like all over the place.
Right. But I think that the very first thing is the desire to want to just take it easy and relax. Because it really is known that if you rest in between your busy day, that your day can progress at a much easier pace and with much more peaceful.
And you do that through meditation, or, I mean, some people, I sort of put prayer and meditation in the same area.
Well, I've come to learn that prayer, if we're speaking prayer, asking for something, we're always asking for something, right? If that's like talking to God.
Okay.
And meditating, not speaking, is listening.
Okay.
And so there's a very
big
large
difference. Yes.
There's a large difference there.
Right.
I read somewhere where the angels were saying that, oh, you humans, you do not know how to pray. And so it becomes like, okay, well, what do I need? What do you need? What we need is to be quiet, to be still. And then we can actually, Gracelyn, become like walking meditations. Because we kind of build that into our daily lives. I mean, we do come from this most powerful source of light and sound. And if we were to really think about that and stop our breaths for, how long does it take? 5 minutes to depart from this earth plane if you don't breathe? We have to think about where this breath is coming from. And upon each and every breath is this wisdom and knowledge and frequency coming from our higher selves.
Okay.
We all know that we're going back to where we came from.
We are going to die.
Yes.
At some point.
Yes.
But you don't have to fear it. You can see it as a transition into another plane.
Correct.
How did these vibrations, tuning into this higher power and these healing vibrations, how does this improve our health? How do vibrations improve our health, the frequencies?
If you are at peace and you are happy, your life is automatically improved. And when you are happy, truly happy and smiling, you have more energy. And when you have more energy, then you feel better. When we are operating on energy, why not tap into the source of that? We work on depleted energy systems because we worry about not being able to keep up and do everything that we need to do, in a 24-hour period of time.
So all of our racing about and constant, perpetual, endless busyness is actually contributing to our poor health.
Absolutely. And then what happens? Then we have to stop.
Right.
We have to stop. We're
forced by illness.
We get shut down, Right. We're forced by illness, and then depending on how fast we are making ourselves move, without plugging into the power, the real power source, it depends on the level of illness.
So, do these vibrations remove blockages, and is there a physical way that they improve our health as well, other than just making us feel better? Is there something going on energy-wise?
I wish that I had certain scientific devices that I could take a photograph of a person's energy field before we begin the sound healing session, and then take a photograph of what your insides look like, afterwards. It does absolutely, it can absolutely heal, and it improves your whole system, your whole field. I've had many people that have been diagnosed with cancer. I'm not going to say that you know, we can actually help in the curing of that, but we get very, you know, we can say that we improve the conditions, your peacefulness, your energy field, you know, your vibration, your oxygen levels, so that you yourself can heal it.
So that the body can heal and fight the cancer through an enhanced immune response that the body has the ability to do. It's just we overload it with grief, unhappiness, and toxic life. Bernie Siegel has talked so many times about patients being able to almost identify the time that they started to get their cancer, because it was a time of great stress and unhappiness. And so what we do to ourselves is why before you can become a healer, you have to do self-healing.
That's correct.
To be able to help other people. Each person is very unique. So how does a healing session begin?
It begins by just lying. This is what we'll demonstrate. You know, lying on top of the Vibro acoustical sound healing table. I have a mat as well, which I take around.
So this table, for the audience, when we do the demonstration, I don't know if you'll be able to. You can feel it if you're in the room. I don't know if you'll be able to hear the vibration through the sound system or not. But this is, and what do you call it?
It's called a Vibro acoustical sound healing table.
Okay.
So it has transducer speakers in it.
Okay.
And then it's hooked up, you know, to an amplifier and a CD player, where I then load certain CDs that have frequencies on them. And again, because of my training through my direct experience and gifts of being able to hear my higher power and my higher self, as well as hear the person's energy field, we know which frequencies to administer.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
The whole thing is to relax, and you can't help but relax.
Right. I'm looking forward to this.
Because the healing room itself has been designed, the entire healing room has been designed to just kind of cocoon you and bring you back into your original state, you know, of perfect, whole, and complete, just the way you are, just the way that you have always been and are seen, you know, by the Creator. And it is with the tuning forks and the music inside the room, inside the table, that we use in junction with everything together.
Colleen has 55 different tuning forks, and then she has all these colored crystals and stones and sacred oils, and then the additional guidance from her higher self. We've talked about this not really being channeling, but I don't know how to ask the question. Is it even, do you actually hear a voice, or do you sense it? Or can you answer that?
Let's see, I've been doing this for 20, 30 years, and I call them my guides.
Okay.
So I will call them my spirit guides, because I'm in co-creation, you know, with God, with the universal energy field, and I think I hear the voices. Let's just say that, but it's in my head. It's in my intuition.
Right.
You know, we ask ourselves 100 times a day, shall I do this? Shall I go there?
Right.
What shall I do? And then we answer our own thoughts.
Right. We have to make a decision.
Right. We have to make a decision. So why can't that decision be plugged into a higher power that has better decision-making abilities than we do?
Right.
Okay. And so I agree. I love that. I was practicing when I was in Nevada. When I was practicing trying to hear, you know, a higher energy field, higher. And so when I began to to hear, okay, don't go this way, go that way. I'm saying, who's telling me that?
Right.
You know,
who's there?
Right. Or get in your car and drive to LA. You know, I was living in Las Vegas, so what do you mean get in my car and drive to LA and do what? You know, so, and it was a testing back and forth. Don't forget
This was training you.
Training.
And testing you.
And also because what is my major goal here is about healing. How do I trust a higher power to work through me and with me if I don't know who's who and what's what, you know?
Right. Or if you haven't tested this a few times.
Exactly, exactly. So that's what I did. I spent about 3 years actually, you know, and I'm a pretty, you know, spirited, feisty character myself, so I'm not going to take anybody's word for it on this plane or any other
direction.
Plane, Earth plane, right?
Without question.
Without question, I would say, all right, who's talking to me, and what are we doing here? The name of our show in Las Vegas was called the Angelic Channel, and our theme song was Devil or Angel. Because there's a lot of fundamentalism that will say that, you know, if you're hearing voices, then it's not of the God plane, but they heard voices 2,000 years ago, and they obeyed those angelic voices and what have you. So I don't know why we can't do the same today. But anyway, so it was a testing back and forth, and knowing that my goal was about healing myself, helping to heal others, and really following the biblical, you know, saying that Yeshua said that all this that I can do, you can do and more, you know, in my name. And so I said, absolutely. Then why not? Why shouldn't we practice this? What else do we really have to do here? I mean, why should we wait until we get diagnosed with a disease, or have a very good friend, you know, die of something, or we ourselves get, you know, so very troubled by something? Why don't we figure this out? Like, this is like the crossroads here, the 21st century.
Well, and it seems like, at least in our culture, and I can't speak about other ones, there's a greater acceptance of and awareness of. It's always been in churches and spiritual groups accepted that there was a higher power, but now even those of us who do not belong to any particular religion but consider ourselves spiritual, that seems to be as accepted these days, and that's a relatively new arrangement.
Relatively new, and yet so very ancient,
Yes.
and our birthright.
Well, new in our culture,
Oh,
put
okay.
it that way. Because the ancient was many other cultures too. But so I think this is a good time for us to maybe give our viewers a demonstration of what you do and how you do it, and then we'll come back. We're going to take a little break here for just a minute, and then we'll come back and we'll be ready to do a demonstration, and then we'll talk just a little bit more towards the end of the show. So don't go away. We'll be right back. Now.
Okay, so this is the nerve frequency fork.
Okay.
And so this fork has a vibration that helps the nervous system. Now, each tuning fork has a different number of hertz and frequency. This is a double weighted one, so actually I can use my hand and you can you feel the vibration?
Yes, I can.
Okay. So the ones, let's say for example,
Oh, wow.
you can hear that? Yep.
Pretty.
All right, this is the frequency of F. Now, the CD that I have in is running certain frequencies for the chakra system.
Okay.
Okay? So sometimes I will have music playing in the background and then run these frequencies on the table, on the person. Now, supposing you have a spinal injury or fibromyalgia or something, I have frequencies for that.
Okay,
Yep.
so there are specific frequencies for different ailments.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. And also with the added gift of the intuition and the clairaudience, is I can hear which frequencies are most beneficial for the person on the table. I have just a few tuning forks here, but I have like several. So then I would pick up, say, a couple different ones, and I put them together, and then you can hear the two different frequencies. So basically, I'm seeing and hearing your auric field.
Okay.
Okay.
And you are treating it with sound.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, exactly. So I do not touch the body a lot, but I can, especially with the double weighted ones. And again, so interesting today when I was bringing different frequency forks, I was told to bring the nerve fork for you. This is the oxygen.
That's great.
This is oxygen, which everybody needs because we don't take deep breaths and we don't breathe properly. So also, you can certainly feel that, right?
Oh, yes.
Yeah. And you don't think about anything when you get that vibration. So the table relaxes you, and then the forks on top of you also relax. I'm going to change this frequency.
Okay.
Hang on one second. Okay. And we'll go to the next track. So I've made up different music and frequencies for the demonstration here today, but I can pull from a lot of that as well. You see, my gifts are that because of my training and my desire to be able to see and hear the spirit realm and my higher self, I'm able to utilize any tuning fork that my guides are telling me to pick up, instead of having to know that this is, how many hertz does this frequency have,
Right.
that sort of thing. And it's a gift, that I've perfected. I've been doing this for 10 years. Marvelous, marvelous healings take place. The most important thing is that the person relaxes to such a degree, being surrounded by the color, the sound, the vibration, and also the messages that are given, to the person. I don't take an intake form, like ask you a lot of questions.
No, you didn't ask me what I needed.
Right.
You know what I need, probably
Exactly.
more than I do.
And how did I come to that? How did I arrive at that? I trusted, my higher power and yours. And it's really about being in communication with that. So it's very, very exciting because we are spiritual beings having the human experience, not the other way around. And so why don't we work our lives, this way? So I built a whole center and surrounded myself with this thought process.
Well, and with the space and the equipment and the knowledge and the training to invoke this kind of healing.
Yes.
And that's why I was so excited to meet you, because I know that this is relatively common in California and Arizona and in the West, but I had not, there's no one that I know of around here doing this depth of work that you are doing.
I'm glad that you said depth, because I built the center, it's there 8 years now, but it's been 30 years in culmination of everything that I have learned and trusting. It's a really remarkable journey to be able to hear what is happening with a human being that you don't know.
Right.
And so it's empowering to the person as well, knowing that that there is love and healing coming from beyond, and that they themselves can heal themselves. It's about empowerment, and it's about letting go, of our...
That's right. It's about trusting.
Yes.
Well, the other thing I like about energy healing is that it's not harming my body and bringing in further challenges for the physical to deal with. And so it's and it feels good.
It feels good because we actually get the right combination of frequencies and get them administered to your cellular memory program and get you back into a more natural state, from when you first came in. And again, we can do this ourselves. Chimes, a bell, singing, listening to meditation CDs.
You use drumming, I believe?
I do. I have a drum.
Shamanic?
Oh, yes, I do. When I first came to the property that I have now, the Native American, the Indian spirits were very much there. And I had a chakra teepee, 18 feet in diameter, so it could hold 30 people inside. It took a little time to get it up, but I had a Navajo put it up for me, and then it lasted 4.5 years because I never took it down. But we did marvelous healing in there, and I do drum circles now inside the house. Sometimes I've gone to schools. I have a lot of drums, so the kids do the drums, and I have found of late that drumming, journeying, shamanic journeying with the drum one-on-one is extremely beneficial. So it's great. And the drum is the heartbeat, and it sort of like transcends your thinking process as well. And if you've ever been in a drum circle, it's pretty exciting.
I haven't, but friends of mine in California have, and I know that it has, they find it very powerful.
Yes. Well, it's also very revelatory. It can give you messages. It can, which we always want to know. We're always running to some psychic someplace when we've got the answers ourselves. And so it's about empowering, yourself.
Right.
And that my place is all about that. I want you to be able to see and hear yourself. And so that's why we work with the different frequencies and sounds to bring you into your own state, of consciousness.
When you do a healing for people who are watching, will you during that process give them advice? Will you make suggestions? Will you talk about what goes on, as well as the vibrational healing and the sound healing?
Yes, I do. Yes, I do, because I can get right to the root of it. I became a minister about 5 years ago, which has given me a leg up, say, on the spiritual counseling and all that, coupled with the messages coming through. It's almost like being a soul physician.
That's a nice term.
Yeah, we can see it, and most people are very grateful for that. Again, we are human beings, and there isn't anything that you've ever done, said, didn't do that someone else hasn't. we think of ourselves
40,000 years or
we
a
think
billion.
of ourselves as so very unique,
Right?
But we're not. We're all the same with our own unique characteristics and things like that. But
Tweaks.
I guarantee you, every single body is pretty much, If you're looking like a human being to me, we're good. If you're something else, I don't know. I don't know. But so we come into body. We come into have this human experience, and why shouldn't we then access the source of where we came from, so that we can then work our lives better here?
Well, we certainly do need help on this planet, particularly now.
Yes.
So I think that to have more people tap into and develop that awareness would be very beneficial.
So there is number one reason for doing that, and that is desire. You have to have the desire to do it. And then you take it from there. And I would like to say that let's really wake up with the desire to heal before we get sick.
Great.
Okay.
We're not totally done with the show. We have a few more things that after you saw the demonstration of the healing that we wanted to talk about. And one of the things I wanted to ask Colleen to address is, will most people feel immediate changes after a treatment?
Yes. The answer to that is yes. Just to be rested and peaceful. Just that alone gets you into the state, but a state of balance, more balanced. But the frequencies have just tuned you and also healed some places, and then the messages on top of that, about your life.
And so you'll perceive it because immediately you feel relaxed and you feel like you've been on a vacation. But then you'll notice things as you throughout the days that follow that are different.
Yes.
That are improved.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. I have people coming back all the time. They say, I need a tune-up.
Well, that's a good term for it.
Yes. Yes. Yeah.
Is there one memorable case history that you could share with us? I think you told me about your friend who'd lost a lot of weight.
Yes, and this was just recent. There's so many phenomenal healing cases, but this one just happened recently, and my friend had lost 70 pounds, and I'd hardly recognized him when he came through the front door there. And yet I was determined, because we worked together a couple other times over the last 6 months. And now he's was really in a bit of trouble. And so I said, I kept asking, actually before he arrived, what can I do? Can we really get to the root of this? So we went downstairs in the healing room, and he needed, he was hydrated, so I have a steam room, in my guest bathroom, so I told him to take a steam and, drink some water. He was dehydrated, and he needed more oxygen, as well. Again, every human being needs oxygen, that's why we have an oxygen tuning fork, but interesting, which has never happened to me before in the healing room, is that his dog, his spirit of his dog came in. His dog has been dead for a couple of years, and I've forgotten his name, which was Bismarck. But Bismarck, the spirit of Bismarck, said to thank him for being a master. My friend was his owner and master, and made him do tricks and roll over and things like that. And the spirit of the dog said, to me, that this gentleman needs to follow his master, meaning Yeshua, meaning God, and get on the healing path that he was destined to do. He had been called about 4 years ago, actually, to do some healing work because he had healing hands. He became a massage therapist, but he didn't take it any further than that. And he's worried about the corporation that he's running in the material world and this and that. And then he started to get very ill, which is why the weight loss and all of that, and trying to figure out what was happening, why he couldn't swallow, why he couldn't eat. And so the energy and spirit of the dog was saying that he was my beloved master, and now he needs to follow his own master, and follow his path, which he came here on this earth plane to do. And to be reminded of that, what is dog spelled backwards?
God.
So I was like, oh my God. that was very, very
special.
Yes. And this gentleman, my friend, has been experiencing the very same symptoms and illness that his dog died of. Now, he told me that himself.
How strange.
Yes.
Yeah.
How strange, and yet how connected.
Right.
How connected we all are to every living thing on this planet.
That's true.
And beyond. Yeah.
Well, the last thing I'd like you to do, and I'm going to actually set up for this one.
Okay.
I'm enjoying the vibration of the bed so much, I don't want to leave.
Yes. Can you feel it? You can feel it, right? Yeah.
Okay. I wanted you to give us a quick summary, because you have this long list of services that you offer. Am I blocking your view there? To your camera. We have a long list of services that you offer at the Mystic Gathering Center.
Yes.
And so, would you talk about that a little bit?
When I became an ordained interfaith minister, I began to hold healing and prayer meditation on Sunday mornings, and I've been doing that for several years now.
At what time is that?
Usually it's at 9:30. Mm-hmm. We adjust that according to weather and seasons here in New England, and also holidays, because
right.
Everyone's going every direction. Mm-hmm. So I try to maintain that as much as possible. 2007, I began to have individual groups of healing, and then I just made a special time for that on Sunday mornings. So we have Sunday morning prayer meditation, 9:30 to 11:30, and then I do a drum circle once a month, or just kind of send out a notice about, we're going to have a drum circle.
Okay, and what does that involve? I mean, what does that mean?
Well, it's a
circle of drums, but is everybody drumming, or?
Everybody drums.
Okay.
Yes, everybody
So you
drums.
have the drums, everybody sits in a circle in one of your wonderful sacred spaces.
Yes.
And then do they drum their own thing, or what?
Well, we start off in just a freestyle drumming so that I can hear and see where everybody's at, as they come in from the outside world, and I can see where they're, they've got to get some energy out anyway and expel some of that frustration and frequencies that are bouncing around out there. And so then we do visualizations, and then each one can take a turn as well and sing their own song through the drum. It's all very planned and organized in the moment.
Okay.
Because the guides are in charge of that too.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we have 2 minutes. So let's go through this list in about a minute, and then I want to talk to the audience briefly before we leave. So you do shamanic drumming, you do vibroacoustical sound healing, you do spiritual counseling.
Yes, I do.
And past life regression. Just describe that a little bit.
It just started to come back in. I was a trained hypnotist as well, and that teacher did past life regression, and so I just kind of incorporate that sometimes on Sunday mornings if I feel like a need for it.
And then for, you do individual and group retreats. How large of a group are you geared to, or does it change?
1 to 30.
Okay,
Yes.
1 to 30.
Yes.
And you do weddings?
Yes, I do. I do weddings and funerals and baby blessings and baptisms and
Okay. So, I thank you very much for what you're doing, and I'm thrilled that you're in my neighborhood.
thank you.
And I'm glad that all of you have tuned in. I want to invite this audience to come to Colleen's for an open house that's happening January 11 from 11 to 4 p.m. To see her beautiful property and the Mystic Gathering Center facility and the healing spaces, and to get acquainted with the potential of sound and color and vibrational healing. Thank you very much for tuning in. Be sure to tune in again on January 7 for Dr. Chris Lakowski, who will be helping you develop your New Year wellness plan. Thanks so much, and good night.